you. Number 7, which happens to be a motion to approve the August 4th outreach committee meeting. I've been discussing that. We're going to refer that back to the committee to have them approve those minutes first. Bring them back.
There's no money.
This committee meeting, and most of the board members were not present technically.
Right.
Or actually. So the committee would have to abstain. Well, the actual committee members will be multiple votes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's, okay, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Committee minutes are.
Okay, you got everything, David Levine, you good? Good to go? Okay, Nancy? Yeah, go ahead.
So just something real quick regarding the record of how each board member voted. I mean, as you've been doing it and, you know, religiously, you take a roll call vote on the vote count form the funding program has issued. And so that is the record of how each board member voted. So I would advise that somewhere in the minutes that you note that for if you readers wish to see a record of how each board member voted, please refer to the vote count form available with the board, or that is available. So that the actual minutes do not need to reflect how each board member voted, as long as you have a record in writing of how each. So that way you've been doing it, but just make it a point, because it is a Brown Act requirement now that there be a record of how each board member voted on motions. Okay. And
No.
But not in the minutes.
July 17th, I was not here, so I didn't do a vote count sheet, and Carol Hart has that.
yeah. So as long as you know you have it, and
Yeah.
if you're asked for it,
Except for, yeah.
you may post them on your website, or if they're asked, they are a public record. One more thing, I wanted to have addressed it before, but with the other discussion, it passed my mind. But one of the minutes, the issue that Gary brought up regarding that the Brown Act states that only 3 board members can serve on a committee. So yeah, it is correct. It is not the Brown Act. It is the bylaws. But if at the meeting someone said the Brown Act said this, and that is what someone said, then that's what the minutes should reflect. Okay, so I should have made that comment at that moment, even though it was an incorrect statement. So the minutes are a record of what was actually said.
Correct.
Whether it was incorrect or not, that's another matter. That there could be a note made, the correct statement or something. So just wanted to make that clear. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move over to new business. That is number 5. 5A has been tabled per a discussion with the city attorney. So we'll be moving over to 5B. And that will be a discussion and motion to remove Ed Serrano from the board roster due to lack of attendance and personal reasons per our bylaws. City attorney will be advised, she has been, and as well as Doug Rex. It's cut and dry. The motion is per our bylaws.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so I believe Anita, a few of you had a question last month that covered your questions. We've been waiting for the paperwork on it's all been taken care of. So any other questions? Obviously, everybody knows that Ed Serrano has not been back, so. Okay, so go ahead then, and no questions, call for a vote, please.
John McGovern,
Yes.
Dennis Gibson. Yes. Carol Hart. Absent. Deborah Perkins. Yes. Dave Brown.
Yes.
Nancy Zander. Yes. David Hyman. Yes. Gary Fordyce.
Yes.
Carlos Maya.
Yes.
Armando Diaz. Absent. Mike Khabib.
Yes.
Ed Serrano. I guess he doesn't get it right. Unum Goel.
Yes.
It was just.
And now let the
Motion
record.
passes.
Okay, thank you, and let the record show that Ed Serrano is now removed officially from the roster, and we will notify Dunn appropriately tomorrow.
The vote count was 10 yes, 2 absent.
Correct.
1 seat is now vacant.
Okay, let's go into C, discussion and possible motion to allocate funds for outreach items, meaning trifold brochures and recyclable grocery bags with the neighborhood logo on all items as per required per the city finance.
And by the way, we didn't put it, but it's my item.
Well, I have a motion on the floor, so
I'll second it.
thank you. Now that you're seconding, you can talk about your motion, please. Go ahead.
Okay, what you see in the back, I'm really sorry. What you see in the back is what we have left as promo items, and we need to revise our trifolds, which I think many of the neighborhood councils are using them. I think they were a fine marketing tool, and we're down to less than 100 of them. And the other thing that we had discussed is that for our new welcome packages, which came out of the committee meeting, we were looking at using recyclable bags, and we were also looking at those as a outreach item. So, do you want me to give you dollars on the two? Do you want comments from the floor? What should I be doing?
Yeah, to answer that question, yes, I would need to know now roughly the dollar amounts for the two items that we're discussing on the motion, and then we can amend each one, because it is a financial matter that we can discuss and get a vote count on.
It's up to $1,000. I believe it was 2,500 trifolds.
Okay?
And up to, well, they're roughly $1.50, $1.60 each if we get, and I have pictures, by the way, for all of you guys. We're looking at different items. Depends on how big we want to go. They're 15 long by 14 high by 5 deep. Or we could do something a little smaller, 12 wide, 13 high, 8 deep.
And what is our cost on those?
Rough cost is somewhere between $1.50 and $1.60, depending on how big we want to go. And there are some price breaks, and so roughly you're talking, and by the way, these are pretty decent. They're not just something people would take off and throw away. Anybody want to see them in the aisle?
And how much then, how many of those do you want to pick up?
No? Okay, hang on.
For your dollar amounts, how
Do
many
you want
do
to,
you want to pick
it'll
up?
go that way. Let me do the two here and it'll go that way.
And how many do you want to pick up?
Well, the 500 of them to start?
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Will our logo be on the line?
Yes.
They have to be now per the city requirements.
City requires that our logo have to be on everything, any advertisement that we sponsor plans for.
And that's been forever.
Forever. And ever, and ever, ever.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, but I will.
Nancy, have we got 3 bids on this, on those bags?
Yes, but I was just being informed I should be talking to Ron Rubin as well. Apparently they've got a special CD12 deal as well. I was just giving you the range of what I've been quoted.
Uh-huh.
So yes, why? What would you like to suggest?
We haven't, David and I haven't seen the quotes or anything.
We're not buying anything yet. We're just trying to allocate funds. This is not for tomorrow or for the
Okay,
event.
and
We're trying
are you
get
going
it
to
allocated.
update the brochure?
I'm hoping so.
Okay.
That's the purpose. We're down to 100 and we're out of time. So, yes, I suppose I should say motion to update and print new
Do
ones.
we have a new phone number?
We should tomorrow.
I'll speak on that one, I forgot.
Let's go to the one question in line here. Stay on track. Right now, we're going to need then approximately, this motion here then will read, motion to allocate funds for the outreach item of trifold brochures, up to $1,000.
So we're amending this one, right?
Yes, I'll have two motions since they're both financial motions. We'll
Is
break it
that
out.
not true? I have a question, is that not true with recyclable bags, they would just pay $1,000 for the brochures alone?
The brochures are 1,000, and the recycle bags are roughly 500 for $1.60. That's the number I'm going to
I
use.
actually think, well, We talked to the printer you use, and we've talked to 2 others. So it's probably going to be less than that, but if something should change, I don't know what the layout is going to charge for, I'm just covering it. The price is gonna be pretty close to what you guys pay.
So are we talking $1,500? Because John said.
No,
No, up
right
to
now, hang on,
1,000, and
guys,
it's
hang
probably
on.
gonna come in
We
less
have
than
one
that.
motion that I just redid here because they are financial motions. We're gonna have to break them down later. We may as well do them right now. So the motion was to allocate funds for the outreach item of the trifold brochures for up to $1,000 for approximately 2,500 brochures. Thank you. Now, let's just to go back to your question. That is just for the trifolds. Okay, yes.
All right, so then we're gonna go on that.
So we're good on that. Okay, any other questions then? We're breaking them down because we're gonna have to do it later anyway. It's easier to do it this way.
So we're amending the motion.
Right.
So 5C is actually just for the trifold brochure.
Correct.
Well, you're amending the motion to add the dollar figure.
And for the trifold
For the trifold.
brochure only.
Right now, only for the trifold.
Right. I need to write it down because when I take the vote and somebody asks for money,
Right.
I don't want to hear no mess.
You got it.
Yeah. All right, so now we'll have a motion to approve the amendment. All right. We're having a motion to approve the amendment because as it states in our agenda, it says that it doesn't give us a dollar amount. And they're adding $1,000 for the trifle. So we're gonna do that one first, and then we will add the bag second. All right? I'll second that amendment to that motion.
Okay. It's already been seconded.
Oh, it's
Got it.
oh,
It's okay. Go ahead with the vote, please.
John,
Yes, sir.
Dan, Gibson, Carol Hart, Deborah Perkins, yes. Dave Brown, Nancy, David Hyman,
Yes.
Gary Fordyce,
Yes.
Carlos Maya, Armando, absent. Mike Lee,
Yes.
Ed Serrano, oh, I forgot, I can take you off. Is that happening? Luna?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go ahead with the motion for the second amendment will be to, motion to allocate funds for an outreach item of recyclable shopping bags in the dollar amount of $800 for 500 recyclable bags with the neighborhood logo on all items.
I'll second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I would like to say that bags are very common. You now find something a little bit more original. To spend $1.50 or $1.60 per bag, that's really not a lot, 500. If you were to do them at the fair, they would all be gone. So 500 really, I don't think is sufficient. We did the fans, those were, nothing, you could do something like that or something different, but something that doesn't cost $1.50 to $1.60 per item. That's a lot of money for a very minimal amount.
You have any suggestions?
There's bag clips, we're looking at bag clips that people use, and, but people use them, you see them in your kitchen. The bags, everybody sees. They're all over.
Okay, well, we can look at that, but we still have a motion on there, so go ahead, Gary.
You just asked me another idea. Flashlights are very usable, very functional, and I understand from hearsay that they're quite cheap.
Okay, David?
I'd just like to clarify that, in the event that Nancy's able to work with the county, instead of giving 500 for that amount,
Right.
we get 1,000. So
Right.
that's the cost down to 7.
Mary?
I don't know about everybody else, but I've got like 50 bags in my car, and I always forget them when I go to the market. I have everybody in the
Understood.
world, I'm giving them away. When we were looking at items, flashlights are a good idea, the LED ones that stay forever, but also they have really neat keychains with your logo on it, the light book for like.
Again, those would have to be researched because of the logo, and then again, our motion is for the bag, so I
Yeah.
understand the discussion, but we have to go then and research that part for another motion. I'm sorry.
At the
Go ahead,
outreach
Ron.
meeting, the bag was discussed to be part of a gift pack to new residents.
Right.
And that not to be distributed like the flyers would be.
They're not handouts, correct?
Right.
Right.
They're just for the
Okay.
residents.
Well, and there may be other uses we find use them if we have them.
Okay. David?
The motion as stated was for exactly the amount of $800.
Up to $800, yeah.
Thank you.
For the bag.
Right. Right, 500 bags for approximately, or up to $800. No, $800 is the dollar amount, 500 is the quantity.
Oh, 500 bags
Correct.
as up
Go ahead, Karen.
Yes, could you clarify, as I recall, the outreach committee did in fact discuss bags for new residents. In that discussion, I don't recall the bags used for any and all other purposes, so could we clarify that, please?
Nancy?
That
Or
is what
Dave
it was
Brown?
discussed for. But in the event we don't have 500 new residents, I assume we may bring in some other use for it.
If I,
Well, we know we'll have 75, I believe, right here at the corner.
If I may contribute to that, it turns out we're gonna, Friday the 26th, we're gonna stuff 700 bags for the disaster fair and hand them out the next day, Saturday. Contents-wise, that's gonna probably be $23 to $29 per bag that gets handed out. We have weekly production. We have the site production meeting and/or the general overall fair meeting. Every week there's one of those meetings. So within a meeting or two, I'll be able to report back cost of bags, cost of contents, because a lot of these handouts to new residents will be identical to what we'll put in the EP handout bag for the disaster fair. It'll be the same exact thing.
Okay, noted. So, again, right now, is there any other questions on the amendment to the motion? Not the contents of the bag or its, original design?
The first, the trifolds are in 5C.
5C, 5C-A.
5C-A, okay. Sorry. Because there is.
That's fine, okay,
I'm
so.
just trying to keep it straight.
No problem, okay. So, there we go. Is there any other question? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe my question was answered. What is the breakdown of the use of the bag then? For the new residents or for what other purposes? And how do you break it down?
For new residents, you just
She
said.
said for new residents is that we possibly would have some left over because we may not have 500 new residents at one particular time, that we could absolutely distribute some other place or another event. That was the answer to your question.
Yeah, we're getting off of here, now you're discussing that part. So basically, again, my question was there any other questions about the
Yes.
amendment?
Yeah, there's-
The amendment's been seconded, so go ahead.
Melvin, maybe you can help me with this, but is it not prudent to name the vendor that you're going to be purchasing them from in your motion?
We're approving funds for the future use, and as David or Ron Rubin just said earlier, that particular group might be able to get us a better group through a bulk through his department as well.
We have this logo on the back or something.
This is
What I'm curious about, though, is I've seen a lot of other neighborhood councils now, when they're purchasing items, they're stating a vendor they intend to purchase from when they're doing the motion. Not that they're committed to the vendor, but it has to be in the motion. Again, that's why I'm deferring to Melvin, because I'm not exactly sure how that's supposed to be working.
right, we haven't mentioned the vendors, so it's not in the motion, so we won't bring it up at this time.
so probably if this goes to funding tomorrow, and they're gonna want to know which vendor was approved.
It's not going
Yeah, so, but if it's not going at this point, I mean, they'll come back, and so a vendor will need to be approved at one point. If you're not have it right now, it won't be what they want to do.
One of the questions that came up a couple of months ago, we've been trying to explain that too, is that we have that time limit of 90 days before we can spend money, but we also have to start looking now ahead of schedule for vendors that will be able to print the logos on it, where prior to this, we used to just say, okay, we got those 3 vendors, they can make the bag. Now we have to make sure that we can get the logos printed on it. Some guys can do the bags for us at a very good price, but then we have to figure out how to get the logo on there, which we're working on another few things with the other fair. So that's basically why we're asking for the funds now, so that they know how much they have, then they can go out and then do the other homework on that, and it's in their budget. It's within their budget. So, at that point, no other question? Okay, let's call for a vote, please.
John McGovern,
Yes?
Dan Gibson,
Yes.
Earl Hart, absent. Deborah Perkins? I'm gonna sustain because I think, can I make a comment or no? Just sustain. Dave Brown?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. David Hyman?
Yes.
Gary Porter?
Yes.
Carlos Maya?
Yes.
Armando Diaz? Absent. Mike Khalid?
Yes.
Puna?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to D. Okay, now we'll combine them, so that would be, let's see, 800,000. Okay, so the now 5C-B will be a discussion and possible motion to allocate funds for the outreach items, the trifold brochures and recyclable bags with the neighborhood logo on all items in the total amount of $800 or up to $1,800.
I think we need to do it separately because then we just come back and do this before. Let's do two separate. No, we got them.
Just did them separately.
Just
We're
did
doing
them
the total amount from the original motion.
To be clear.
Okay, so again, motion was to allocate the funds for your outreach items, the trifold brochures, recyclable grocery bags with neighborhood logo on all items, up to $1,800. Thank you, Poon. Okay, now, no other questions, we'll call for a vote.
John McGovern?
Yes?
Dan Gibson?
Yes.
Earl Hart? Deborah Perkins? Yes. Dave Brown? Nancy? Yes. David Hyman?
Yes.
Gary Fordyce?
Yes.
Carlos Maya?
Yes.
Armando Diaz, absent. Mike Khalid?
Yes.
Puna?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 5D, let's move on. Discussion and possible motion to approve a neighborhood purpose grant for $2,500 in support of the Granada Hills Street Fair to be held on October 11th, 2014. The event is hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, actually it's the Granada Hills Chamber of Commerce and the Granada Hills Community Foundation. The North Hills West Neighborhood Council will have multiple outreach opportunities by radio coverage, newspaper, media coverage, and booths for exposure. The estimated exposure to stakeholders should be approximately 15,000 plus attendees. And again, it was approved by the outreach committee, I believe 2 months ago. And if you recall, well, let's just go with the motion right now.
Second.
Thank you, Poon. Okay, questions? David Levine, did you get, is that a question on the terminology for Dick?
No, I got it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Questions? Ellen? No? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you had your hand up. Jim?
The only question I have is 2,500 is what they require, Granada Hills, up front one, right?
That's correct.
So how much more do we need for the booth, for handouts?
Those are being supplied.
With our logo and our information will be supplied?
Well, our handouts are part of the outreach, such as the trifolds and the rest.
That's why we just passed the money.
But are we gonna have enough after barbecue and then this other one, the 15,000 or whatever is gonna be there? Are you gonna have enough brochures and literature and, for the outreach? size fair if they're blocking off the whole street. I just wondering if you're setting up now for enough money to go into that event as well. Because I know it's 2,500 period, and then you gotta have other items you're gonna be handing out. So you might have to take that into account as well.
That would be up to outreach to handle that part. This motion is part of the neighborhood purpose grant for that. It's a separate issue. Okay, so, I'm sorry, Gary, go ahead.
I would like to make a comment in favor of this. In my majority of the existence of this board, 11 plus years, I don't believe I've ever seen such a huge bang for the buck opportunity. There is going to be so much media exposure, so many people, that I don't think we've ever seen this opportunity before. It's a big one.
Okay. Mr. Kuzma.
First of all, when I fill out a speaker card, that's the procedure. I hope that it's honored. Next time, yeah, I hope next time I don't get railroaded again, and I hope it doesn't happen to any other stakeholders that stand at this podium. On the committee meeting, and the point I needed to make before, is you have a joint board and committee meeting, which means when you vote on an item there, basically I'm assuming that the whole board has approved it. Item O of those minutes that I didn't get to address talks about the motion to approve this. There's no roll call vote of who voted on that motion. So I'm just dumbfounded that it's still on the agenda tonight, thinking that this is something that was approved a while ago. You know, I saw a lot of things in here, a lot of allegations of Brown Act violations, and I got to tell you that let he who is without sin cast the first stone, because I can sit here in this room tonight and tell you you violated the Brown Act at least 3 times on just your sign-in list is in violation of the Brown Act, because it doesn't say on it that it's voluntary to fill it out. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of respect and a little bit of listening to the stakeholders when they come up here, because we're here because we care. You know, I don't want to see, you know, I know what's gone on around here. I have made public information requests from this board, and I still have yet to receive a response for public information. That's wrong. So, you know, let's have a little respect for one another as we meet here tonight and make decisions.
Thank you for your comments. And let's get back to, I'm sorry, any other comments from the audience side? Board members? Okay. Go ahead.
I think I like what Jim was mentioning, that, you know, maybe we need to up the amount of our outreach items, because if this event is going to be $15,000 plus, $1,800 may not be enough, or we may not have many items to give out to that. And I think, like everyone was saying, it's a great opportunity to have access to all of these people, but we really need to have the outreach information to outreach to them. If we don't have that, then what are we going to be there?
That's again, that is what we just said before, is that, yeah, we do need it, and that's up to the outreach committee to get together very quickly on that. Obviously, no, there's 2 separate topics here. The motion on the floor is for the neighborhood purpose grant, but what we need to do is have the outreach department get together and start working on what else you might want for that event, now that you know it's on the board, or on the table here. It's on the table.
Best to go back to the outreach.
So let's just go with what's on the table right now, what's on the floor. Okay, does everybody understand what we're doing? Bonnie, you have your hand up? Or, oh, no problem. No problem. That's okay. No problem. And Helen, you're hiding. hiding back there, so I can't see you all the time, but you're okay, you're okay. Okay, so, everybody's good with that, so, let's, no, you're not.
I do have a comment on it.
Go ahead, Mary.
I just wanted to ask, is Northbridge East or West, I think there are 3 Northbridge neighborhood councils, are they contributing to this event? Part of it?
Granada Hills North has contributed 1,000 because they have limited funds. They spend more than 1/3 of their budget on their rent for their building. So they have limited funds to spread around for the rest of the community. Granada Hills South has committed to 2,500. Northbridge East, they still have not brought this to the vote at the council, but they're going for 2,500 also. Granada Hills, 2 Granada Hills neighborhood councils, and nearest neighbors.
Because I'm not crazy about it, it just seems like we're using our funds to contribute to another neighborhood council.
This is not going to a neighborhood council.
No.
This is total chamber of commerce, which is
Exactly.
business
But
hours,
it is
correct.
a different- and
Neighbors.
You guys, okay.
Right. Same as the National Nights Out.
Contributing to one of your events, so the cost is.
We, as I mentioned earlier, have been partnering with some other groups now. We will be getting some new events going. Okay, so there we go, David Levine.
Just a clarification, did the motion end with the phrase Granada Hills Community Foundation, or did it include the rest of the wording on the agenda?
Keep all the wording, please.
Through the 15,000 plus attendance.
Correct, please, thank you. Okay, call for a vote, please.
John McGovern,
Yes?
Dan Gibson,
Yes.
Carol Hart, yes. Deborah Perkins? Yes. Dave Brown?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. David Hyman?
Yes.
Gary Fordyce?
Yes.
Carlos Maya?
Yes.
Armando Diaz, absent. Mike Khalid?
Yes.
Puna?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's see here, we're jumping over now into number 6, which is committee reports. Planning and land use. We have a meeting, I'm sorry. There is a planning and land use meeting this coming Tuesday night. And that, I believe, is at the library? Yes, sir. That's correct, okay.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.? 6 p.m., there you go. Beautification infrastructure is Carlos. Carlos Maya, okay. Yes, go for it, sir.
Can everybody hear me?
Forgot.
Okay, good evening, hello everyone. My name is Carlos Maya, I'm chairman of the Beautification and Infrastructure Committee, as well as Bob McGovern on the committee, Deborah Perkins, Bonnie and Jim Cockrell, and Bob Schaefer.
Yeah, Kathy Breyer also. Yeah, I believe you were. You can't run out now.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm informing you that I did receive everyone's request by email in regards to the NC Blitz program for the sidewalk and pavement repairs with the Bureau of Streets Services. And I submitted the request in order of the time the emails were received or sent to me, and you brought it to my attention first. We did have a deadline, but unfortunately some did not make the deadline. Now the people that did not make the deadline, their requests were taken in consideration and submitted anyhow to the Bureau of Street Services. In regards to the street surfacing, it was not part of the NC pothole. But your requests were submitted as well. We will have this program back in our neighborhood tentatively on the 12th of February of 2015. So pretty much that's it.
Thank you.
Also, there's 3 processes that you can request work for the street or for the sidewalks or pavement. One of them is 311 for a service request. The second one would be to email tss.boss@lacity.org to generate a service request, and then they will give you a service request number. Also, the third way would be, there's a phone application for your phone. It's called MyLA 311, and it's free. And you can also apply your information or things that you do in your neighborhood with the application as well. So, pretty much, that's it.
Thank you.
Any questions? All like dumping, trash dumping, trash dumping? No, but people dumping trash in certain locations.
trees, tree cutting,
You're talking like bulk pickup for your own property, or people dumping it in your property?
not on my property, but
Or in the neighborhood?
wash. Yeah.
Yeah, 311 will handle that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what else is, the beautification committee doing? It's been months since, way before the election, that anything has really been done in the area. I know it's a million degrees now, so I don't know if anybody wants to get out there, but, I'll get you some estimates from licensed landscape contractors to do a little cleanup here and there, if nobody else seems to have it right. Because Roscoe Boulevard is a nightmare. Havenhurst, the weeds are up. The median on Roscoe, which is between Lake Balboa and us, right here by the railroad track, is full of garbage, debris, weeds. I mean, we look like a third floor. I mean, it's not only us in Northwest West. You drive anywhere in the valley, it's so disgraceful.
Okay, so to answer parts of that, then, number one, on Roscoe, we're working with Budweiser right now, the new plant manager. He has a gardener that handles the south end, and in my meeting with him, I said the north end looks like crap, period. Looked terrible. He is aware of it. He has people coming in for a very large event, the Clydesdales this coming week, and I said, if you want help, maybe we can help you and you can help us try to get you guys over there to get it cut. Maybe we can get Ron Levine's group out of the city to get it swept up. It's not easy these days because of cutbacks. We're not the gardeners, and we have a small committee. We're not out there cutting people's weeds. We did that last year in the last board, and it got quite expensive with that, and the liability is kind of crazy. People almost got run over, and again, we just finished the summer. We did, though, actually look into the planter systems that we have, and obviously we had 5 large ones, 4 small ones. One is missing. It's 2,300 pounds, and it's missing. I believe it was actually hit by a car, and I'm looking into it, but I don't really care. I'm just going to bring 3 down. We're not going to buy more. The water system is repairable. It's actually not that bad. Ellie's group had done that years ago, and they had these sprinklers. We didn't really do anything with it last year. We are looking into what we can put in there with the amount of water that we can use. Obviously with that, we don't want plastic or garbage plants, and we don't want trees, so we're looking into that one as well.
Yeah, and I know the committee is not that big, and I know it's a matter of getting volunteers, but, the Northridge West Neighborhood Council has an excellent program, and it's very good for 3 or 4 people, and maybe meeting up with them and getting some ideas from them, would be helpful. But I see all the time on agendas, allocating $1,000, $1,500 for this landscape or for that. And you know what? Planting planters for me is like, that's the triple.
It's in only one area. The biggest problem with Roscoe, which you guys passed a ruling 2 years ago, and the city says that those parkways are really responsible to the homeowners. And as you heard Ron say something about enforcement tonight, they're going to start issuing tickets. We need to start bringing those addresses. Now, since I'm not going to go driving around the town looking for each address, some of them are very obvious on Roscoe, if you people have them in your neighborhoods, send me the address. Then I can send it over. Instead of going to 311, I can go to Ron Rubin into Englander's office and say, hey, get us somebody over there, let's cite a couple of these people. I know some of them are older people, and they can't do it. And those ones, which was our goal, is to take care of some of the senior housing who can't do their own front yards or whatever, so we don't encroach on their backyard. But that's a perfect way to start there. Let us know the ones that you know about. I mean, we live very close to each other. There's a couple of houses that are a little really weird, especially the gas company involved there. Looks like
I know
garbage.
that corner there is.
Oh, we're working on that with the gas company. They're supposed to help us on that, but that also belongs to certain people's properties, and we can't just walk on them because of liability. So, but we are working on it. We're just not, I'm not the gardener. I guess that's the best way to answer it. And not being facetiously, we are looking at some things, especially some cleanup, which Dan and I have been looking at on the Havenhurst, Roscoe side near the airport, because it looks pretty bad right now too, with all the city's dump junk out there. That is the entrance into our place by the tracks. The other one, it's a little further down, like I said, on Roscoe by Budweiser. Budweiser should be very happy to clean that up on both sides. And of course, it's an expense, and they're looking at it, so. Yeah, they do. And they're looking into it now. So we are doing something, but we're not going to be out there with weeders, just so you know. I mean,
It would be nice if that was.
well, I saw that email 2 days ago wanting to know why we're not out cutting everybody's weeds. At 110 degrees, I'm not going to ask anybody to go out and cut anybody's weeds. We're not the gardeners. Yeah.
But I think, you know, if you've got money, hire a landscaper, something.
If I may on that note, if you drive Chase Street between Gothic and Havenhurst, we got 11 of the palm trees trimmed. And some of them, they've never been trimmed. A few of the branches touch the sidewalk. That tells you that they've never been trimmed. And the ones who are a little bit up from that, maybe the rats chewed them off or something. So 11 palm trees trimmed, all the debris swept up, cleaned up, taken away. We got it through LAWA, Los Angeles World Airport. In addition, we've got those, the hedging and the sidewalks and everything cleaned, and now we're working on cleaning off the curb into the street. That's the current project over there. So things are happening. It's just got to start at sunrise, because by 11 a.m. it's time to give up. So anybody that wants to meet at sunrise, come join us. We do it almost every other week at a minimum. Everybody's welcome.
Well, again, I'm really encouraging you to get some money, spend some money. You know, it's great to have good plans and everything, but you know what? I would rather have some of these weeds cleaned up than a t-shirt or a bag or anything like that. That would be more of a service to the community.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so, I'm sorry, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
The question for beautification, the railroad tracks, what do we do about as far as, you know, the dip, the asphalt, the movement? If you go to Simi Valley, they put giant pieces of rubber in there. I mean, you got the trucks and all that. The suspension.
That's not city.
That is not city. That
No,
that whole little area is.
You saw them do it on Woodley a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They made some changes,
Yeah,
and that
but
goes
there's
under,
Roscoe
actually, you know, Frank Klein knows somebody.
But it's just one of those things that if you look at what's been done.
I know.
I've been here almost 60 years. And to see what it's done there at Roscoe and to see what it's done at Woodley, it's a suspension terror. And you go.
Well, they're actually working on something, and I know Dan's working on a project right now with the sod farm and the city, because it goes under basically the Department of Airports, but not the.
Of course.
Not the railroad.
Right.
Because they go through, and that's not even the county. So
Right.
they are looking into it. Dan's actually working on a project right now.
Yeah, the Simi Valley's got the coolest thing with those giant rubber. You go over that stuff at LA, and it's been like that for 20 years, and it's absolutely amazing. For them to not implement it or even talk about it, just thanks for so. Yeah, it's been church. Okay. I'm done. We'll let you talk.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so their infrastructure is good, and then the next one that we had on there was, I believe, Dave Brown for, I switched over here, emergency preparedness and public safety.
The biggest thing coming up, of course, is the Valley Disaster Fair on Saturday, the 27th. There's opportunities both on the Friday before the ET bags will be handed out, as well as quite a variety of things on the day of the event. Everybody's welcome. Send me an email, just keep in contact. And a lot of it's actually going to be fun. block sign, we have our next round of installations coming up. We previously installed 9, we have 11 more to go. We have the addresses for us. Thank you for submitting that. We just have to wait until we can pay the installation contractor. He's ready to go. He wants to do it while it's cool. He doesn't want to do it until he's paid because he continually deals with income consoles. So he says he knows if we want the signs installed, so it'll accomplish the payment. Okay, that's what we're waiting on. So 11 signs we've already approved. Monies to make a new order of signs for the next round of chamber watch installations. And we're going to include some poles so we can put them anywhere. They don't have to be restricted only to municipal non-wooden poles that carry wires. We can put a sign anywhere by driving the pole into the ground. Of course, you got to check the data alert, and there's a whole procedure with that, but it's not expensive. I mean, the cost of a pole is trivial. The guys already have the slide hammer unit to drive the poles. It's an easily doable deal. So our next round of requests for addresses will include or be able to accommodate people that want one right in front of their house. That's currently an issue with some folks. Final comment on neighborhood watch signs. There are pre-existing signs, some of which have been there forever. They're beat up, ratty, rusted. A beat up neighborhood watch sign screams nobody's watching. Better to have no sign. Plus, all those pre-existing beat up signs are typically on wooden poles. They have wires, so that makes them number one illegal. DOT or street services, anybody can rip those down. The reason we can't put one of our signs up there is because we have a logo on it. We'll know where it came from. They'll charge us $300 or $400 to take it off. You can't have a sign on a wooden pole that carries wires because the lineman may have to go up there in the dark and rain manually or come down there. Okay? So that's why we're going to look into the driving individual poles for where people want them. So that's some pretty good news. We're actually accomplishing something there. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to outreach. Nancy?
I have two things. I promised Irina, which actually, this is working out to be very interesting. Irina stood up and said a little something about History Day LA. Amazing event that I knew nothing about until I spoke with her. I've now spoken with the actual organizer. So essentially, your quick overview, and there are handouts in the back if you guys want. They are looking for judges as well. Any adult up to 80. You have to have graduated high school. You have to be willing to follow directions and work well in a group. And you have to let the child be the expert. So if a child shows up and says the sun is made of blue cheese, you can ask pointed questions at the end, but you have to be willing to let the child actually discuss things. It sounds truly amazing, and we have had an offer of the lady organizing the judges and the event to come and speak to us in January. The event's actually in March in Azusa. But in the meanwhile, if you look online, History Day LA is really amazing. It's open to any child from 4th grade through high school, whether they're homeschooled or in any private or any school whatsoever. And it truly is a national event. It starts in LA County, then it goes to a state competition, and I'm told at least 1,000 people will show up and be judged for the first round, possibly more, and then it gradually works its way down to a national event. And it would be really cool if somebody from Northwest West were to win. It has different categories, so you can read about it or go online, and we also have had the offer of somebody to come speak to us in January. But it's open to all children in school, any sort of school. So, Irina, I did it. Down to my baby and the neighborhood council's baby, we are doing a barbecue, for those of you.
Question?
Yep.
Staying on that subject that you just had.
Okay.
I've talked extensively to Irina, and maybe I missed it in your comments, but she was offering to bring students to do the history project of the history of North Hills West, and there's at least 8 or more historic sites right here in North Hills West. And I think that would be a fantastic opportunity for the outreach committee to utilize.
That isn't exactly what you said to me, but yes, it would be a very interesting project, and I would be in support of that.
Maybe you could pursue that conversation with her, and she could clarify it with you as to what she would wanted to do.
Okay, okay, I will.
Thank you.
Anything else? And if you go online, there's lots of information on it. There is going to be a North Hills West Neighborhood Council free community barbecue on September 6th. It's at the Valley Park Church, which is on Nordoff, just street a little bit between Woodley and Havenhurst. You know where the library is? We've been there a lot. It's just past the library if you're headed west, on the same side of the street. And we are looking, there is also a projected budget sitting in the back for those who would like to get an idea of what we're spending and how we're spending it. The purpose is basically to get people to come have a good time. Jim, I need to talk to you because I was sort of going to try to market businesses to sit at tables, and you're saying you're going to assume we're selling something. So I need a better way of doing it because we have lots of information that we'd like to get out. If we don't have a table, I'm not sure how to do that, but pursuing your question, I will follow up with a conversation. But the idea was to invite everybody, all segments of our community, to be everybody, literally, schools, churches, just anybody who's a stakeholder in this area. There's roughly 7,000 addresses, guys. And get out there and invite them to come have a good time. We have a DJ who's going to run music. We have games. We have food. Sorry, we picked UCLA kickoff home game. I didn't check on that. But anyway, so you're all welcome to come. We could really use help putting this together and getting the word out. We were a little late getting funding. Our funding, in case you didn't catch that, arrived yesterday morning at 10 a.m. So we are now getting rolling, and I do expect it will be a fun event. Hope you all plan to come, and if you can help, please let us know. We're going to try to not only email flyers, but actually distribute flyers, and it should take a fair amount of effort. Yes, ma'am?
You might want to avoid cost. What you mentioned with school and Rome High School, and we've had dealings with them, so it's kind of they owe us a little bit something.
Yes, I feel exactly the same
and
way.
And if you just printed out cheaply a bunch of flyers and ask the principal, can you please have these passed out to all of your students? Because many of the students do live in North Hills, some live in North Hills East, and that's okay. But that way it would be brought home with the parents and stuff. Or even send an email blast that they blast, the students and the parents and stuff like that. They need to scratch our back.
I'll take it even a little further. We're trying to get the mock trial and debate team and the drama team where we donated money to come help us spread the word in addition to that. Don't know how that's going to go. I still haven't caught up with them. So
The same with VA, if we just part of the flyers and the people over at VA and stuff like that. And there are guys, coming in and out all day, they may not be residents, but.
they're still stakeholders.
Yeah.
And in truth, free food may bring them out. The goal of this is to engage the community and get them involved in the neighborhood council, which is our main purpose. And any other ideas would be welcome, and Mary, I think we will be doing all of that. Thank you.
The neighborhood council next door site now reaches 620 participants in the various groups within the council borders. So as soon as the flyer's ready, we'll scan and distribute via that.
Have a flyer. I can send you the electronic version if you like. And basically, the goal is to make it be fun. So I hope you're all planning to come. We're going to be inviting Mitch Englanders himself and his crew, and in particular, a lady named Jessie Levine, who's been a godsend. In case you didn't notice on the flyer, his logo is there because they have comped us 20 round tables and 200 chairs towards our goal, which is very kind of them. And they've been very supportive in terms of getting the county health permit and all the fun stuff I didn't know we were going to get into, and it's all going pretty well. Now we just got to go spend money quickly because we're pretty close to the deadline and we didn't have money. So that was kind of the hang up.
Is it going to be in the big parking lot there of the church?
No, okay, let me give you a quick rundown. And I have pictures on my phone if anybody wants to take a look. It's an amazing hidden gem of North Hills. I want to thank Dan Gibson, it's his church. We're on essentially an acre of beautiful sod, which is their athletic field. There are trees on one side. We will have a DJ under a permanent structure so he doesn't die of heat prostration. We're doing it from 4 to 8. And trying to get, I don't know if the community's going to come market their businesses or not. The idea was to get people there for whatever purpose they find and have it be free and fun and engaging.
Especially gardeners.
Well, possibly so. They're allowing us to use their actual church kitchen, which helped a lot with some of the health permit requirements. And our chefs, most likely the two chefs cooking for the day are going to be John and Dan. Deborah's putting together, it's going to be a group effort. Hopefully there'll be something for everyone. It's basically barbecue food, so it's hamburgers, veggie burgers, and also, I'm missing something, hot dogs, and I think links are what we decided. We do not have a clue as to how many people are going to show up. So we're doing our best to be in a position to accommodate it. If there is another one, I'm sure we'll take a lot of learning curve away from this one, and we can improve and do things differently and perhaps better on another occasion. But in this case, we put it together with the idea that at least the basics are covered. We're doing porta potties. There's only one entrance in. It's a very large parking lot. It is a totally level playing field. Sorry. It is. There's no steps, no nothing. So it should be pretty accessible. It's a pretty big area, and if you want to see pictures, I have them on my phone. By 6 o'clock, because Dan and I sat there, it is totally shaded. There are stadium lights on the place. It will not be dark. And please do come. And please help with the advertising and getting the word out. It would be great.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on. Number 7, motion to adjourn.
May I say something first?
Oh, go ahead.
I simply would like to ask, did we miss the bank report, or was it tabled? I never heard of it.
Which one?
The bank report by Nancy? It was...
Lydia took care of that.
There was no bank report.
Lydia
The bank meeting report.
and all.
Skip me, it's fine. Do you really want to hear it tonight at 10:15?
Hold on. David?
The VA is having an open house on August 27th. I don't know the exact time, but, and as for putting stuff there in the file, great idea when you're dealing with bureaucracy like the VA, it has to be approved.
It actually has to be approved through West LA, and I have a contact that's helping me work on it.